Hi there, welcome to Terraland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Sagittarius energy. And like usual on this channel, we're going to do two rows. The top row I refer to as High Vibe Sagittarius. The bottom row a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius. Because we've all got free will and we have to make these decisions in our life and we battle within our free will. The top row can represent our more hopeful, believing nature, to want to maybe do life a little differently. But the bottom row can kind of represent a reluctance to do things differently. It can represent some of our fears and our insecurities, and just how we are living our life. And maybe if we were to live our life or do things a little differently, the bottom row can kind of represent, our comfort zone. And it can be hard to step out of our comfort zone and do life a little differently. So we all tap into Sagittarius energy. Shadowy Sagittarius energy is just where we're, in comparison maybe to some other people, we're all on our own journeys of learning some lessons, but we in relationship to some other people in relationship to us, other people in relationship to those people, we can all be more immature in certain areas compared to other people. And we also could repeat certain patterns that aren't conducive to things moving forward in a more just, fair, balanced, loving way. And High Vibe Sagittarius is about kind of being determined to do the work it takes to learn the lessons you're meant to learn, not repeat some of those old patterns, and to be inspired to want to free yourself, because high vibe energy is about being independent, free from things that manipulate you, so those things don't keep manipulating you. And then eventually looking at life as an adventure to be lived, and that life is all about learning these lessons. Well, maybe let's just jump up to the top row first. We have the Five of Wands, and the fives talk about change. And the Five of Wands comes after the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands is Aries energy, which is about the self. Within myself, I need to be inspired by high vibe energy, hope, faith, belief, love, to look at life from a higher perspective, to temper my fears and my insecurities and my self-limiting beliefs. I need to be inspired within myself by those things. Until I change, I could look for other people to be more just and fair and balanced and loving. But if I'm not aligned with that energy, I would sabotage it probably, right? Because the Five of Wands can be the reason. It's also the reason why the reading came out for the top row. And shadowy Five of Wands can mean that people still have a lot of inner conflict that they haven't worked through, or they're still in competitive energy. And then we have the King of Cups and the Ace of Wands. Taking action from love, inspired by love. If we haven't learned to love ourselves and work through our own inner conflict about loving ourselves, being inspired within ourselves, it starts with us loving ourselves. If we haven't learned to love ourselves, then when we're in relationships with people who are inspired by love, we're going to have a hard time with that. If they're motivated and inspired by love, and that's not what motivates and inspires us, plus we could be in competitive energy with them. And some of you could have dealt with some people who are like that. If we have things that manipulate us, that keep us living life a certain way or viewing life a certain way, and then we meet people who seem to have worked through those things, and they're free of those things, it can get us a little bit in our jealous, competitive nature. Like, well, why aren't these things manipulating you the way they manipulate me? It's because those people were inspired within themselves to change. The truth sets us free. And love is the answer. So we offer love to ourselves. We offer love to the situations in our past that could make us still be in inner conflict. And other people who don't want to move forward in an energy of love. I offer all of it love. Everybody is where they're at. Everybody's dealing with their issues. Everybody is at their emotional maturity level, their fears, their insecurities, their lust, their greed, whatever it is, their pride, their ego. I'm not going to I can only change me. The only person I can change is me. So I'm going to be inspired within myself to offer myself love so that and offer peace and love to the people in my life. I accept everybody's where they're at. I've been all these different ages. I've been at all these different emotional maturity levels. I've had my issues. I got my issues. I'm going to offer it all love so I can keep moving forward in truth and love. And the Five of Wands being Leo energy, like, I'm going to get out of my ego about it. Everybody is where they're at. If people were more motivated to want to be in friendship and relationship with me and we were more on the same page, we would move forward together. Some people I move forward together and I could have been in friendships or relationships with them for a long time and then things could have changed. You know, we're always looking for people to kind of be in a relationship with that we're kind of on the same page at the same time with. At whatever stage of life we were at, based on the lessons that we were working through kind of at that stage of life to learn. But then sometimes if one person kind of does some of this work within themselves to kind of move forward, to heal, it can even be, you know, there was things in my life that used to manipulate me and how I felt about myself and how I lived my life and the decisions that I made, and therefore to people I align myself with. I think high vibe people love the people they can be in a relationship with, so they can offer them love to keep moving forward with them, being loving and encouraging people. But if those people start to feel like, well, you're not the same person you were when you got in this relationship. You seem different. You seem to have changed. You seem to be more hopeful and believing within yourself, or you seem to have healed, you know, whatever we could have had in common that was kind of like, and it could have been a lot of different things that we kind of had in common that made us be at whatever, in certain friendships or relationships with people. But as one person during the course of that does something happens, and it doesn't have to mean necessarily that you healed or grew or matured. Maybe the other people changed in the opposite direction. You know, something changed. You're either kind of moving forward inspired by truth and love, and the Four of Wands, which right before the Five of Wands, can be coming together in joy and celebration with other people. We can come together with people in joy and celebration, but then as time goes by, things change. We change, they change, and people are either changing for the better or for the worse. Sometimes it's the other people who change and you didn't do anything. You didn't, wasn't anything particular you did within yourself to change, but the other people, it's kind of like driving down the road of life, and then some people start to drift off into the ditch. And then they're not, if you had been going down the path of life together and it seemed like everybody was kind of maintaining balance within themselves, and then one person seems to start be tipping out of balance, which can be fear, insecurity, pride, ego, competitiveness, or something, is like, wow, you're not the same person. So someone or something changed, or just circumstances in your life changed. The difference of what do we do when things in our life change, or other people change for the better or for the worse. High vibe people offer love to it. Does it cause me inner conflict? Does it maybe get me in competitive energy? Does it get me up in my head or my fear or my insecurity? It could cause all those things. High vibe people are inspired to offer love to it because they know that that's the best answer. I'm going to offer love to myself, to the situation, to others. Offer love to the situation so it doesn't cause me more upset, right? And cause more upset in the situation. Let's go look at what some things could be going on in people's lives or did go on in people's lives. Well, the reason for the bottom rose reading is a card not showing itself, and underneath that is the devil. And underneath that is the moon. So, there's some things that I view the devil as where it can challenge our belief systems about kind of what we think is just and fair, right or wrong, and the devil card looks just like the lover's card in a typical Rider-Waite deck, except that instead of an angel, there's a devil. And in the devil card, they have chains and shackles on them. So, and the devil can mean there's things about this world and things that we love, and people that we love. It's just that there's something about it that's kind of maybe limiting or restricting or imprisoning or oppressive or controlling or kind of toxic or abusive or codependent. Because again, in the lover's card, the people aren't chained and shackled. And it's like the third party to the relationship is hope and faith and belief and love. And some of the reasons why we could have gotten in friendships and relationships with people at different times of our life could have been more out of our fear and our insecurities. The moon also can talk about not seeing the truth, and we got lessons to learn. So, and also fear. And maybe we weren't listening to our intuition. So we get in certain friendships and relationships while we're on this journey in life to learn these lessons. And we're going to come in contact with some people who are continuing to move forward with us, and other people we also meet who are more inspired by truth and love. But in a world of duality where people have free will and we have free will to pick this or that, we have to accept the truth, which we can sometimes have a hard time wanting to see the truth of, that some people aren't motivated and inspired by love. They could be a little bit more about themselves, or bossy, or controlling, or egotistical, or narcissistic, or manipulative, or prideful. But we can have love for them. But it's to come in contact with all these different people in the world to help us get clear about what our truth is and what our truth isn't. And sometimes we don't want to see the truth because we have fear of becoming independent of those things. We have fear of becoming independent of our more worldly nature and listening more to our intuition to guide us. Having more hope and faith and belief in our dreams. The moon is also Pisces energy, which can also talk about being more connected in with our emotions and our intuition. And in our more worldly nature, sometimes, we want these things of the world and we want them to work out the way we want. And sometimes in our ego, we don't want to see the truth. The moon can kind of be about not wanting to see the truth because the opposite of the moon is the sun, being illuminated to the truth. And so sometimes we can stay in situations that we don't really think are just or fair or loving, and we're kind of moving forward, the moon is about creating an illusion. And we can move forward in those relationships for quite a while because we kind of don't want to see the truth. Because we'd like those things that we've invested in to work out the way we want. And we can keep doing that for a long time. And it can keep causing us a lot of inner conflict because one person or group of people could be trying to move something forward, more motivated to move forward in a more balanced, inspired by hope and faith and belief and love. And the other person or other people in the group seem to have inner conflict about doing that or fear about doing that. And sometimes people just fear doing love. I get hurt doing love. I don't really want to be inspired within myself to do love because I have a fear of being hurt. And until they work through that fear, they're going to keep having inner conflict and fear of really doing love. And so then in a more shadowy way of living life, it can be, I am just going to align with my more worldly nature and create the illusion that I'm loving, get in relationships with people, enjoy relationships with people, but it is more where I want to kind of indulge in the illusion of love without authentically having to work through my fears or insecurities or past pain and heartbreak to authentically do love. And then when they get in relationships with people, eventually there's a problem in the relationship. You can move forward in a friendship, a relationship, a job with people being kind of more mismatched. And if it's like a job or any organization in the world that you could belong to, we can know all these different people and have all these different people in it and at different stages of life. Can we all get along? Yeah. Can we all, we're there for that. It's kind of making me think of like being in a church, Can you go to a church and people are of different belief system or stages of life, but you can also belong to any organization and there can be all sorts of different people there. Can we get along well enough? Yeah. Does it cause some tension and conflict and stuff in the relationship if some people are more bossy or controlling or manipulative or feel like they're wearing a false mask or not being more authentic or something, right? Immature, yeah. But can everybody still get along and work together and everything kind of keeps moving forward? Yes. But if it's more of where you were in a friendship or relationship with someone, whether it's your adult child, brother, sister, mom, dad, neighborhood person, or work, with some people, it can get harder and harder to keep working with them if they keep seeming to, at one time it seemed to move forward and everybody was working together and we were in joy and celebration and we were inspired to work together. And then all of a sudden, or over time, it seems like things changed and now someone seems to not be inspired to work together from being inspired by love. Then, there's all this tension and things that people have to work through about, am I going to keep moving forward in it? And it seems like I thought we were all on this page, but now it seems like someone's more on this page and they want me to keep moving forward with them in that way. So what is going on? We have the Four of Swords, the King of Pentacles in reverse, the Empress in reverse, and the Chariot, or the Empress upright but not showing itself, and the Empress, or the Chariot in reverse. So the King of Pentacles, well, first, the Four of Swords is Libra energy. So, some people could have been dealing with a Libra, but we can get in relationships with people. And shadowy kings can be where some people who are more shadowy kind of wear a false mask that they're motivated and inspired by love. But it's kind of a mental construct that they have. Like, that's an idea. Instead of really dealing with my fears and my insecurities and my self-limiting beliefs and learning to love myself, I know I'll just get in a relationship with someone who's loving. That'll be great. Then I'll be in a relationship with someone who's being loving to me, but they haven't learned to do that within themselves, or they want to be in a relationship with someone who seems more motivated and inspired by love, because if they're in a relationship or friendship with them, then in turn it makes them look like kind of the devil trying to create an illusion that they're loving. And I view the King of Cups as Cancer energy, about love, right? So someone who's really more fearful or insecure or materialistic or more about themselves, trying to create an illusion that they're more loving than they are, right? And then they get in a relationship with someone like that, and then there's conflict and fighting eventually, probably, because then in the King of Pentacles, like, that's not really their truth. When someone's holding the one pentacle in high vibe, it would mean I have learned these lessons in life. I have grown and matured myself. And also, I view the King of Pentacles as Capricorn energy. And shadowy Capricorn is the devil. We're either more aligned with our more worldly, egoic, defensive, fearful, more about me, or unhealed nature, and we haven't learned those lessons in life. Or we have, right? And again, we all could get in relationships with people, and we could all be hoping for the best. We all could have some fears or insecurities that we need to work through. And some of those, with some of those people, we work through some of those things. You can repeat this pattern many times with people. Like within a phase of life that we're at, there's a lot of lessons to learn. And some people might, and we all might learn some lessons in a lot of ways. It changed both of us. But then we can get down to a core foundational truth. And the Empress is about love, and emotionally, because that's a feminine figure. The feminine figures talk about how we think and feel, and the masculine figures can be how we present ourselves in the world. And the Chariot is Cancer energy, supposed to be about emotionally balanced, moving forward, motivated and inspired by love. And so sometimes we get in these more mismatched relationships with some people where the truth is they're not more motivated and inspired by love. Shadowy Empress that some people could be hiding, that emotionally they try to present themselves as motivated and inspired by love, but they could be hiding that really in their Libra, the Empress is Libra and Taurus energy. And Taurus is about kind of like our philosophy of life that dictates kind of the decisions that we make in our life, our belief systems. And some people are like, yeah, no, I reject a philosophy of life of love. I don't believe in that. I think that's an illusion. I am more about being in a relationship, to be in a relationship, to enjoy being in a relationship, could enjoy being in a relationship, could treat people in a kind of just and fair and loving way, but never going to come out from behind their defensive egoic nature to more authentically free themselves from why they don't do love and do love, right? And it's very hard to change people's philosophy of life, So let's go see what this card is, that sometimes we can get in relationships with people and we don't realize we harness this energy differently. The Queen of Swords. So, the Queen of Swords can talk about the fact that we've all been hurt before and we've all felt betrayed before. Well, we can get in relationships with people and we all could have felt betrayed before. Well, and we could be angry and we could be hurt and we could be trying to heal because someone maybe that we wanted to be in a more committed relationship with, or we were in a more committed relationship with them. But it could even be that there's really a job that we wanted and we didn't get, because the King of Pentacles and Taurus energy also can kind of represent that. But the people who haven't learned to love themselves, because again, the Empress can be about love and the Chariot can be about love. Some people don't know how to love themselves and we've all been there, where it kind of drives our life off into the ditch and we become much more unstable. Well, some people are able to, I'm going to enjoy my friends or my family, and hopefully you have some people in your community and your life or your workplace or whatever that you can, have those type of people in your life who are providing love and encouragement to you while you go through a difficult time. To kind of get inspired back within yourself as you work through the fact that something where you thought you were going to get justice, it didn't work out that way, and you have these fears or insecurities about moving forward and like trusting and believing in yourself. And if there's someone who you feel would maybe still be willing to move forward in a relationship with you, but they are kind of not balanced, not loving, not just, not fair. Maybe some people, like if it's a job, I don't know, where people don't act with character and integrity, or they're not, it's not moving forward in the way, like people create an illusion and you thought you were on the same page, and maybe that there was going to be this new beginning, whether it was at a job, like, oh, I'm going to learn these things, and as time goes by, I'm going to be able to take on more responsibility and kind of grow to my full potential and have more stability and security in my life and make more money. And then you get in that job and they're like, it ends up like, no, that's not going to happen in a way you kind of feel like. Well, then you could feel like somebody created an illusion. And it's like, well, could I like the job? Could I like the people? But it's kind of like, you want me to settle for less than I deserve. And like if it's a romantic relationship, it's like somebody who creates the illusion is going to be inspired by love. But then as you move forward in it, you kind of feel like they're more, have inner conflict about doing love. And it kind of seems like they're more indulging themselves in it. It's like, well, I thought we were going to work together to both work through our fears and insecurities to be more authentic and loving. And that we were going to have this new beginning, because the Four of Wands is coming together, and then the Five of Wands is going and having this new beginning, going on in Sagittarius energy, going on that new journey. And then you kind of find out that some people are like, it seems like they don't want to move forward in that way. And the Chariot can talk about moving forward in a way that looks victorious and successful. And then some people, it's like, if some people knew that some people were expecting that it would become a more committed relationship or a more formal commitment, because the King and Queen of Pentacles is the only married through the deck. And then as time goes by, they're kind of seeing that I kind of got myself emotionally entangled up with someone who created the illusion that that was their, what they were motivated and inspired by also. And then as time goes by, you kind of realize, I'm kind of getting the impression that this person isn't interested in doing that, that it can be more, and shadowy Empress again, can be someone who kind of is emotionally indulging themselves in a relationship or wants to be emotionally indulged in a relationship, male or female. And kind of hiding that they're defensive to having this new beginning. Like, let's just keep doing it the way we've been doing it, which can feel like, if one person is inspired by love and being just and fair and has worked through their past pain and heartbreak and wanting to be in relationship with other people, I am ready to move forward with you. Well, maybe some of the other people really haven't really detached from some people in their life or other relationships that they had been in. Sometimes that can be a different romantic relationship, but sometimes it's just that their friend group or their family group is like their primary foundation. And I'm not willing to detach from that foundation to make you a more primary foundation in my life. And so, shadowy energy can be wanting the best of both worlds. I want to be defensive or not really invest in it, or not heal and grow and mature myself, not be more emotionally balanced, maybe not be more just or fair or act with character and integrity, maybe be kind of bossy or controlling or manipulative. And I want to do those things, and you be loving. Well, is that just and fair? Well, some people think that's just and fair. That is their idea of the dream relationship. I want to be whatever way I am, but you don't be like that. You don't indulge yourself in poor behavior, only me. And then you're supposed to be loving and encouraging to me. And you're supposed to keep being loving and encouraging because you want this to work out and because you have fear of leaving it or becoming independent of it. And basically the devil trying to use people's fears and the love that people have for them to manipulate them. And sometimes, the big scheme of life, high vibe energy is trying to give birth to new things, which is kind of, we refer to it as God, and shadowy energy and our own shadow nature within ourselves of fear and insecurity kind of wants to keep doing things the same because it's scary to step outside our comfort zone. And at the big picture, living in a world of duality where these energies battle with each other, we refer to shadowy energy as the devil, not wanting to give birth to anything new. Let's keep doing what we've been doing. I don't like, and the fives talk about change. I don't like change. And sometimes we can be in relationships with people who have a lot of fear of stepping out of their comfort zone and a lot of fear of change. Like, well, that's different. The people I generally hang out with, or my friend group, or my original family group, they kind of live their life like this. And they might be people who are more caught up in the illusion of the world, because the devil can kind of represent the world, right? And the moon is the illusion. I know people who don't look at life maybe from a higher perspective in high vibe Aquarius energy. They're kind of more, they kind of hide it, but they're kind of more caught up in the illusion of the world. And then it's more about looking like a shining star in the world, getting in friendships and relationships because it's good for your ego and your image and your status. And they might be people who also don't really invest in love or emotionally balanced. Because if it's love is supposed to be just and fair, and you're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. But shadowy Taurus relationships and a philosophy of relationships that some people think is just and fair, and that's where it's kind of toxic. It's like creating the illusion you're motivated and inspired by love, but in my philosophy of life, I don't really do love authentically. I create the illusion of love, but I don't really let myself love other people because I get hurt doing that. And it is more I'm kind of more about being in the relationship for how it benefits me and the ego and the image and the status. And it could be a more transactional type relationship, or it's not really going to be inspired by love. And if the people in their life want them to change and work through, let go of this idea of being more caught up in their life being about the ego and the image and how more caught up in it just looking victorious and successful while they indulge in a relationship, some of those people were not willing to hold their sword up to their more worldly, shadowy nature. And because of that, they wanted to keep moving forward like that. The high vibe people in their life are like, I'm not going to keep moving forward in an illusion. If this isn't motivated and inspired by love, then I would not have my dream come into reality. I am missing an opportunity to be in relationships with people who are open, who have worked through, who have healed, who have worked through their past pain, heartbreak, and things or people in their life that made them feel betrayed, and they're no longer investing in getting and being in relationships from this more worldly perspective. People who did this work within themselves to love themselves and get balance within themselves. And now, in there, you could just look at the devil as us in our more worldly nature of self, our human form, are going to listen to their intuition about and getting more balance within themselves between their more worldly nature and their more loving, hopeful, believing nature. Because when we're more balanced within ourselves, do I have my shadow nature? Yes. Do I have my hopeful, believing, loving nature? Yes. But I'm going to let love and intuition be what more motivates and inspires me, and offer love to my fear and my insecurities, so that together our foundation can have a new beginning. But instead of where I might have let my more worldly nature, fearful nature, immature nature, whatever, kind of be in the driver's seat of my life, now I'm going to let my more loving nature be in the driver's seat of my life. Because we have this dualistic nature, but we only have one us. What is our truth? What do we think is just and fair? Do we let our more worldly, fearful, prideful, immature nature run our life and think that if we go indulge in all these certain things, or in our more self-protective, defensive nature, or get in a relationship to be in a relationship, or go indulge in certain things to feel better, that that's the answer? Or have we already done that enough times in our life that we know that doesn't work out the way that we want, and that we need to work through these things to start offering love, let our shadow nature kind of more sit in the back seat, and in love we temper our fears and our insecurities to keep moving forward. Like, I don't want to keep repeating that old pattern. And while some people did that, some other people didn't. And so some people are trying to heal from the fact that there was people they wanted to be in a more committed relationship, or they were in a more committed relationship with, or they once had working for them. But those people left. But they might not want to tell people the truth about why those people left. And then they go out and they try to get someone else to be in a friendship, a relationship, or work at that place of business. And they create an illusion about why some other people didn't work out. And then it's for those people to get in that job, relationship, or friendship, in their maybe hopeful, believing nature that things are going to be the way people created the illusion it was going to be. And they'll go on that journey with them. And then in their free will, those people will have to decide, do my fears and insecurities about change and loving and believing in myself, are those things going to stop me from moving forward differently, and I'm going to stay in something that isn't what I thought it was going to be, isn't more just, fair, balanced, authentic, or loving, isn't Aquarius, also represented by the star card, which has to do with our dreams, isn't my dream. But because I do want to be in friendship or relationship or have a job, I will keep just moving forward in it, even though it's like, basically, I give up my dream to accommodate someone else in their idea of the dream life, or being more about them. And it's not more inspired to work together, inspired in a just and fair way from love. And that's for those people to decide. And there could be some people in situations right now that are trying to decide that with different situations and people in their life. And we always probably have other people in our life who are loving and encouraging and supportive to us. Are we going to align more with those people? Or are we going to align with the people who tell us not to invest in that, and don't do that, and you should be more about this or more about that, or live your life more like I do, or keep being my friend, or keep staying in a relationship or working here? And some people are going through that right now, trying to maybe offer themselves love to work through the fact that some of the things and people that they've invested in, trying to work through accepting the truth, because they had some illusions about people that they thought would be more just and fair and loving, and then they maybe weren't. And the people who aren't the just and fair and authentic and loving people are hoping that the other people will give up on their dreams. And the other people are trying to offer love to themselves to figure out if they do believe in themselves and believe in their dreams. And some people already work through this with some people And they could have let go of people from their life. These people and these people. People in their life who they thought their philosophy of life is more about them or the world. And really don't invest in love. So people that they felt harnessed a more shadowy, what they love in their Cancer energy of self is more themselves or these things of the world. And that's what kind of drives and motivates them, is to be in a relationship, or the status or the ego or the image, or being more about them, or whatever it is they like to indulge in to make themselves feel better. So that would be a shadowy Cancer, Libra, Taurus, Capricorn, and Aquarius energy. And some people who are in relationship with them harness that energy in a more high vibrational way. And it's like, though I could love some people and I would like justice to be here, everybody has to be willing to change. And some people are quite prideful and egotistical and stubborn because, again, the truth sets us free. But you have to be willing to see the truth. And some people don't want to see the truth about maybe where they need to heal or grow or mature themselves. But they could view themselves, well, I'm a just and fair and loving and encouraging person. It's like, well, to a degree you are, until for other people to maybe heal or grow and mature themselves. But when it comes to where it gets to the point where you maybe need to see where you could benefit from healing or growing and maturing yourself, oh, well, then, how dare you? How dare you think that I need to change? There's nothing I need to change. It's like, okay. And then the fact that some people do have these philosophies about relationships. Well, it should be more about me. I should be able to be more bossy or controlling or immature, male or female. Who knows why the hell they get these ideas, But that's their idea of the dream life, and they're maybe not willing to compromise. So until they find someone who's willing to make it more about them or indulge them in their shadowy ways of being, they're not going to change. And some other people saw the truth of it. I can offer people truth and love to work together with them, but there comes a time if I see that they don't really want to work together with me in that way, how long am I going to stay in denial of the truth? It's kind of like, if the devil couldn't stop you, then the devil works on other people in your life. 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to stop this person from moving forward. I'm going to tempt them in their fear, their insecurity, their pride, their ego, their lust, their greed. And that will stop this person from moving forward. Because they kind of don't want to move forward without them. And I think high vibe energy and God would say, be a good leader in the world. Some of the people in your life know you love them. But they in turn could have things or people that they love that they're not willing to become independent of. And they in turn are hoping you won't become independent of them. And that whatever manipulates them, you'll let it manipulate you. Out of maybe your love for them. And it's like, that's when people aren't acting in a just and fair and loving and encouraging way, and they're trying to manipulate and control me, or use the love that I have for them to manipulate me, that's not love. And that's not just and fair. And if you keep thinking that is love and that is just and fair with the things and the people that manipulate you, or even your own fear and insecurity that you more defer to, well, until you work through that, I'm going to wish you peace and love, and I'm going to live my truth. Those things don't manipulate me like that. Those things do manipulate you. And if that's your truth, and that's how you want to keep moving forward, you can do that. And if you want whatever it is that manipulates you, your past, your ego, your self-centeredness, other people in your life, the world at large, whatever it is, then you have that free will to let that keep manipulating you. But that's not my truth. So, out of love for myself, I'm not going to live a lie or live an illusion. I can keep offering people peace and love, treat them the way I like to be treated, and then I'm going to go live my life. So then we have these two cards that aren't showing themselves. The Four of Cups and the Ace of Cups. Shadowy Empress and the Devil can be where people they can enjoy being in relationships with people, but they could like it to be a more codependent relationship. I want you to view me as this loving, nurturing person that you can rely on. And you probably did view them as and just and fair, and a person of character and integrity. You initially did view them maybe that way. And that can be us in our appeal to our more codependent nature of kind of looking for like someone to be our mother, kind of like to love us in a way, right? And the thing is, we need to learn to love ourself. So to get to the Five of Wands, we need the one wand, then plus the Four of Wands to make the Five of Wands. And that's where we have the Four of Cups and the Ace of Cups. This whole situation really required people to, am I willing to give up my dreams? Where in the Four of Cups can talk about, I feel like I'm missing an opportunity in love because I'm not working with people who harness their Cancer energy high vibe. If they were in high vibe Cancer energy, they'd be taking that cup of love to know that love is to be just and fair, and then you work together with people cooperatively from love. But some people are like, no, I don't want to take that cup of love, but I want to be in relationships, but I want to use my emotions manipulatively. So the difference between people who harness high vibe Cancer energy or a more worldly shadowy Cancer energy. And again, people can wear a false mask like they are more motivated and inspired by love when they're really not. I mean, can I love working at a job? Can I love being part of an organization, being in relationships? But do I authentically motivated and inspired to be in it because I love it? No, I'm kind of more here for how it benefits me. And so long as it benefits me and it works out for me, I'll maybe stay in it. But if it isn't ending up being more, love is how you build a solid foundation. That you're in it because of love. Otherwise, you're in it for just how it kind of works out for you and it benefits you at the time. So anyway, some people decided this whole situation forced some people to learn to love themselves. Otherwise, I'm going to keep moving forward with people who I might think aren't who they say they are, aren't as emotionally mature and stable and grounded and loving as I thought they were, who, again, not more emotionally balanced, might have some issues from their past that they don't deal with, or are more about themselves and want to be indulged in a relationship. If I were to move forward with them, by worldly standards, I could look like I have justice in the world. But I don't think it's just and fair and balanced, or really, I don't think the other person is really motivated and inspired by love. And that's when some people are like, I can't live a life of illusion. It's just like, some people can work at a job because it has a lot of money or status or power or influence, even though they hate that career field or they really don't like significant people that they have to work with. Everybody's got a different tolerance level, right? And some people are like, I don't care if this ain't my dream and I don't like these people, or I don't even like this career. I am going to keep moving forward in it, And other people are like, oh my God, I can't go into work every day and be around these people. Why am I living in a little bit of hell on earth? And I think in a world of duality, if you're somewhere where someone's creating a little hell, that means God's creating a little heaven, because in a world of duality where we have free will choice, it's like I need to go be inspired within myself. I can't change other people. I need to go, and the king can talk about taking action in the world. I'm going to quit investing and moving forward and investing in this, and I'm going to take action to find people who I think are more inspired by truth and love. And I'm going to let go of the people who maybe the Ace of Cups, I view it as it can refer to all three of the water signs. That the truth is, in some people, they reject connecting in with their more emotionally intuitive nature of their Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces nature. And it's all the devil creating an illusion that they're more balanced. They're not just more about themselves in the world, that they have their hopeful, believing, loving nature too, and they're more balanced. But for some of them, that's just an illusion. That's a mental construct living from their mind. I'm just going to create the illusion. But for some people, they reject even connecting in with their emotions, their intuition, their more even hopeful, believing, loving nature. They could think that's all an illusion. That'll just get me in trouble. That'll just get me hurt. I got to be practical and grounded. I'm not going to invest in love. I get hurt. I've been hurt before. I'm going to make it more about me. And I'm going to get in a relationship, being in a relationship. If it's a romantic relationship, I'm going to have sex with someone. I'll just have sex with someone, whoever. But so long as those people don't require me to really do love. If those people are willing to be in a relationship with me and stay in a relationship with me for their own reasons, I don't really care. So long as we can work together and it looks good by worldly standards and I'm kind of indulging them, they're kind of indulging me. Shadowy Taurus, transactional relationship, then we'll keep moving forward. We'll just create the illusion it's love, but really neither one of us are motivated and inspired by love. But we want to be in a relationship for these different reasons of why people could want to be in a relationship or be at a job. But I don't really want to do love. And the other people aren't creating an illusion. They really are who they say they are. And they have learned to love themselves. And they have gotten out of their more worldly view of life. And they have healed from some past pain and heartbreak. And in all three of their water sign energies, they are inspired by love. They do have their shadow nature just like everybody else. But they work through it. I'm not going to take action more out of because I'm mad or I'm sad or my ego or my want for these things of the world. That is the devil trying to tempt me to go down the wrong path. I'm going to keep taking action, being inspired by truth and love. And as I keep doing that, it kind of gets the people out of my life who aren't really invested in love. Some of those people might want to be in a relationship with some of the high vibe people. But if the high vibe people are listening to their intuition, where they're not willing to just be more tempted to get in a relationship with people for these reasons of the world, they know they can't use those things to try to get someone to get in a relationship with them. They can't tempt them more in their lust and their greed and their pride and their ego. They would have to be authentic. And some people, might be trying to figure out how they could create an illusion of being that type of person. But that's not who they are. And if there's some people who aren't being just and fair or investing in some people, those people aren't going to stay up in their head about them and not reach out to those people anymore. No more offering them a cup of love. If I've already offered you truth and love and that you're not responding or wanting to take action that way, then I assume you're in your own loving, just, fair, balanced relationship, or that maybe you're a little more shadowy than I realized. But either way, I'm going to keep focused, harnessing high vibe Empress and Aquarius, Libra, Taurus energy, and Cancer and fire sign energy. I'm going to keep looking at life from a higher perspective. I'm going to stay focused on the big picture, maintaining balance within myself, because if I get tipped out of balance, that's when other people will try to take advantage of me being tipped out of balance or try to tip me out of balance. So I'm going to keep being inspired to maintain balance within myself. And if I've offered truth and love to people and that doesn't seem to be what they're interested in, then I accept that's a missed opportunity. And for some people, it's not a missed opportunity in love because those people weren't aligned with love anyway. I'm going to keep taking that cup of love to go have a new beginning. What's coming out for the people who harness some high vibe Sagittarius energy that they might not see coming? And as some people move forward, you could have had some type of new beginning and come together with a different person or group of people. You could have gotten out of one situation, job, friendship, or relationship, to come together in relationship with some other people that for now your intuition is telling you that those people are more inspired to work together more cooperatively in a just and fair and loving way, and left behind some of the people or employers or whatever that you felt didn't. What's coming up for the people who are moving forward in a high vibe way, inspired within themselves by love? Ooh. Oh, and like to go on this adventure in Sagittarius. Life's about learning lessons. I accept the truth. Not everybody's on the same page as me. People are motivated and inspired by different things. You know, it's not all about me. Okay, I accept that. And I get out of my ego about it and I move on. A card not showing itself, and the reason is because of the Page of Swords. So the way I interpret this is that because you, out of love for yourself and in your air sign energy of your Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini nature, Gemini is your free will nature, and Libra is about what you think is just and fair, and Aquarius is your dreams. Because you have this dream and you weren't willing to reject your inner child nature that has hope and faith and belief in truth and justice and fairness and love, as you go through this process of loving your own inner child and doing what you need to do within yourself to change and get out of your ego and maybe more codependent or unhealthy relationships, it helps you work through this energy. And this could have been kind of the final thing you maybe needed to work through, that somehow in your more worldly nature, it kind of tempted you or connected you to live your life a certain way in the past. And now it helps you detach from that and harness it in a more high vibe way. The Two of Wands. So in the Two of Wands is kind of over here, we reference Aries energy. It's Aries energy. And you have a dream. But before, with some people, you could have had a dream and thought, and Aquarius energy is thinking a dream is going to come into reality, thinking people were motivated and inspired to come together in love. But as time goes by and accepting the truth of it, you realize your dream can't come into reality with those people again, because your dream can only come into reality with people who are inspired by love. And so it helps you detach from viewing it as missing an opportunity in love. Could there have been love there on both sides? Sure, people can have love for each other. But ultimately, what kind of drives and motivates us and our truth is not the same. Some people in their Gemini energy, again, have more hope and faith and belief in love, and some other people might not. And it is to be more about their self-protective nature or defensive nature or the world or ego or image. And so it helps you let go of that old dream. And as you let go of that old dream and through this process you're changing, what people don't know is you have, again, the way you view life and what you think is just and fair and kind of what you're motivated and inspired by has changed. You have a different dream. And so just like when we lived our life like an 18-year-old, whoa, I'm living the life and this is my dream life. And we lived that life for like 3 years, we were having a great time. Well, then when we're kind of transitioning to be more like a 21-year-old, and we realize if we keep living like an 18-year-old, nothing's changing here. I'm hanging out with some people who want to keep living like an 18-year-old, but I have a dream, and I want to become more like a 21-year-old, for example. As we work through it, and some people kind of move forward with us, some people don't, we kind of let go of that old dream, and we are kind of more inspired by the new dream. We work through the fears of not hanging out with certain people or doing certain things every Friday or Saturday night, and we're starting to do other things. And it's unwilling to, so it's just like that same phase of life is just different. And I think as you quit investing your time, energy, and effort into things or ways of living your life or thinking or people that aren't seeming to be aligned with truth and love, you meet people who are more on the same page as you and other people who are more receptive and open to what you want to manifest, who've maybe already been in situations with people who are like this themselves, and they've been waiting for other people to come up the path of life, and then you might meet them. And then as you move forward and have moved forward in life, you're kind of looking for other people to come up the path of life, Just like an employer, say there's an employer who's like a really good employer, just like people are really good, can be in friendship groups and they're really good friends to people. Well, just like employers and people who are in friendship groups see other people that are in unhealthy workplaces and friendships, it's kind of like, why don't you come over here? Well, we got to work through our issues of getting out of those friendships groups or employers to love and believe in ourselves and work through the fact that we'd wanted it to work and blah, blah, blah to move forward. And being open to people, but just like some people could view you as someone who's on the same page as you, and as you move forward, have other people come towards you. High vibe people aren't going to get in a more involved emotionally relationship with people. The pages can be, I'm willing to get to know you. I'm willing to work together with you and kind of have a new beginning with you. Like we can be friends. But I'm not going to get in a more involved relationship until I feel like you are someone who is really authentically more motivated and inspired by love and connected in with your emotions and your intuition, because otherwise people will take, and I've learned those lessons, because otherwise people will take action when there's problems, that they'll take action more out of fear and insecurity and manipulate and control. And it's like, I need to be in relationships with people who have learned those lessons in life, who really is who they say they are. And until I feel, and maybe have gotten to know you well enough to see what kind of more in your Leo energy of self, what more drives and motivates you, you kind of stay in the friend zone until I know that. And then once I see that some people could have healed and grown and matured themselves, that some people really have changed, that some people have gone through some of the things I've gone through, and we're both motivated and inspired by that. And it's less about the ego and the image, and it's more about truth and love. Those are the people you're going to hang out with. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Sagittarius energy that they might not see coming? Okay, a card not showing itself. Oh, and the reason is, if you're not very connected in with your emotions and your intuition, the moon can talk about that people's judgment is clouded. And because of being full of themselves, or their fear, or their insecurity, or their lust, or their greed, or whatever it is they indulge in to make themselves feel better, it kind of clouds their judgment. So, and then some people who could really be kind of full of themselves, like the devil, no, because people want these things, and I maybe have these things. I think people will want to be in relationship with me. So some people are really caught up in the illusion of themselves, and because they have a certain status or image or wealth or whatever they got going on, they keep thinking that there will be other people or people currently in their life who are going to want to be in a relationship or stay in a relationship with them. But what they don't see coming is that, I guess I would say, the more high vibrational people in their life are going to leave their life. And what they don't see, when you act in more shadowy ways or manipulative ways or toxic ways or bossy or controlling ways, the people who are going to keep staying in a relationship with them would probably be staying in relationships with them more for shadowy reasons. They might think, oh no, they really like me, because the devil can be like, people are really attracted to you. They could be like, oh no, these people really want to be in a relationship with me. But those people might be in it for their own shadowy reasons. So what's the difference? The High Priestess is Cancer and Pisces, two of the water sign energies, and the truth. The more high vibrational people in their life who listen to their intuition and their more loving, intuitive nature, those people see the truth of them. And those people are going to move on from them. And the people who keep staying in relationship with them that they might not want to see the truth of, those people use their intuition in a more shadowy way to get what they want. And that's their truth. Some people have people in their life who are manipulating them, are prideful, are egotistical, don't want them to love and believe in themselves and become more independent. And some of those people, though, create the illusion that they love them, that they have their best interest at heart. But some of those people don't. But they know that these people are kind of codependent on them and that they love them, so they use that to try to manipulate them. And some of these people, they're just not seeing the truth about, and it could make them very unstable. You know, when we have people in our life, and this doesn't have to be other people, part of the reason why some people do align with certain people in their life who other people might know kind of manipulate them or whatever, or the lust or the greed or the indulgence, is because there's a part of them that aligns with that too, or they wouldn't keep aligning with it. But the devil can also be like our own shadow nature. Some people think, no, 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 I'm going to align with my more self-protective, defensive nature. That's the way to go. Then I won't get hurt. What they don't realize is their own shadowy nature doesn't have their best interest at heart. And they might be able to move forward in things that by worldly standards look victorious and successful. But if they're not taking action and investing in truth and love, the more high vibrational people in their life will not stay in their life because they sense that there is a different reason for being in it. And the people who do are using people's fear or immaturity or codependency to manipulate them. And then again, people can just be creating an illusion. If you're not in a relationship for love, and you're not requiring other people to be in a relationship with you out of love, well then, what you don't see coming is you're going to learn some hard lessons that if people aren't in it for love, why are they in it? Well, if it's really just more about them or how it benefits them or their ego or their image, well, if someone else comes along who has more status, more image, or more fear or more insecurity, who would indulge someone more in a relationship, the other people will leave. Because everybody can have this inner conflict they don't want to deal with. They don't want to get out of their ego or their defensive nature or their self-protective nature or it being more about them or their competitive nature. And you can have two people trying to move forward in a relationship where they're both unstable, both kind of more materialistically ego-driven, immature, and if they kind of stay in a relationship, other people can see it. Even though, again, it might look good by worldly standards, but other people are like, oh my gosh, you people are so superficial and shallow and like braggarts and full of yourself or immature or whatever, And the people who do end up staying, I don't know, it's like, I guess just like hanging out with other people. And so they could think like, oh my gosh, I am living the dream life because I never really wanted to be more balanced or loving anyway. So they could think they're living their dream life. Other people could like, oh my gosh. But, that's okay. You let other people live their life. But there can be people who really want to create an illusion in the world about the type of person they are. But and they can maybe hide the truth for quite a while, but eventually over time, just meeting different people and seeing different people, you kind of see the difference between people. Like, oh, I think this is more of a friendship or relationship that's more driven by these reasons, and anybody can try to slap any type of false mask on it, like, oh no, we love each other so much, or oh my gosh, we're so not about that, whatever. And then you see people who are just living their more authentic life, and it seems to generally just be inspired by love and not trying to create a facade or an image or whatever. And people can see the difference of it. And I guess some people will always just be caught up in the illusion of themselves. Some people might not have, anybody can be single, but the shadowy people, that's why they definitely can like to get in relationships, because they think it says something about their ego or their image or their status. But then they can get in these toxic relationships. And high vibe people, it's like, I would rather be single and living my authentic truth and not settling for the illusion. And I believe I can enjoy my life and be happy. And I believe too that I'm going to meet people who are more on the same page as me. And shadowy people try to create an illusion about the truth of who they are. Other people, their life just speaks for itself. And people see who is more getting in relationships for these wrong reasons and who's getting in relationships for the right reasons. So there you go, Sagittarius. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.